So, there are a few displaced SCG content creators that have now announced that, even more officially, that they are going to become independent content creators. We can start here with Paulo Vito Domodorosa. Update on writing Magic content. Hello everyone, as you may know, and several other writers and other people who made videos for Star City Games, I've been let go from Star City Games, which means that for the first time in over 15 years, I do not have a place to write for. In my tenure as a weekly writer, I've written over 600 articles, which amount to 2 times the entire Harry Potter saga worth of words. Oh my god! It's like, I don't know, that's mind-boggling to me. And I've enjoyed doing that because I love writing. I like having a platform to express my thoughts. I like teaching and helping people improve. I like the challenge of trying to convey some very complex concepts in simple terms that can be illustrated and visualized by readers of different skill levels. And honestly, I think I'm quite good at it. Of all the forms of content I dabbled in, videos, podcast, streaming, writing is by far the one I enjoy the most, and it's the one I'm best at. Once I got the news from Star City Games, I reached out to several different stores and websites, but I was unfortunately unable to reach a satisfactory deal with any of them, which posed a problem because I'm not at a point in my life where I can dedicate the time and resources to write quality regular articles without remuneration. I'm not going to bore you with the details, but the pandemic was particularly tough on me and my family, and it caused a period of maximum spending and minimum gains. The revenue I got from writing articles was very important, and if I'm not generating this revenue, then I need to dedicate my time to something else instead. So as much as I love writing, he's going to keep it up, people, and I would like to continue to be able to write, I need help. If I'm going to do that, I've decided to try to become an independent writer. It's going rogue! Which means I will rely on support from my readers to cover my editing costs and my own work. And so anyway, long story short, he's joined me. He made a Patreon. Paulo Vito Domodorosa is, I mean, I understand why so many of them are late to the game, but this really was the actual way to be a pro player. It wasn't from prize money. It was if you could get sponsored by like Star City Games, and I am certain that Star City paid very well because they did give these people a living. They did really, really well. But if you want to have control over your own destiny, you got to be your own independent content creator. Well, we'll start with a article every week. Blah, blah, blah. If you're a person who likes my articles and would like to continue doing so, I urge you to support me. And it's going to be general theory articles and important points that apply to all formats, deck guides that he plays in tournaments, set review types of articles, gameplay situations that we can discuss, format overviews, opinion pieces on big changes, ban announcements, update on older classic articles with more relevant cards and concepts, and more casual articles such as listicles. Anyway, this is going to be interesting to see how well this works out for him. I think he might be the only person that's going to be a writer on Patreon. Usually you're on YouTube, you're on Twitch, you have a podcast. And maybe this format would better take a podcast. Like he is very good at speaking. He's a little fast at times, but he can really convey his thoughts. But anyway, so that's Paulo Vito Domodorosa. And then we got Brad Nelson, I guess there's no better time to post this, who has already moved back into the content creation game. He's on Twitch very, very regularly. I guess there's no better time to post this. Hey everyone, without trying to sound too much like a broken record, I've also become one of the displaced content creators at SCG, that after SCG cut ties with the competitive creators. For the past couple of weeks, I've debated on what my next steps should be, and I've finally settled on a plan. Starting next week, I'll be coming back to streaming on Twitch 4 to 5 times a week, but things will be a bit different this time. The aspect I've cared most about when it comes to Magic is the sideboards. I just love everything about building a perfect sideboard. That's why my content will mainly focus on tuning the top decks in Standard, Historic, Alchemy, and finding the best deck lists and sideboard guides I possibly can. It's the area of Magic that I still enjoy, so it's what I'm going to focus on. Those sideboard guides will be hosted at my new Patreon at FF Freak that I just published today. I mean, all the cool kids were doing it, so why not? Of course. Exactly. That's exactly how it works. There's a bunch of other perks in there for my more dedicated fans, and I'll continue to work on it with other perks, tiers, stretch goals, etc. So if you enjoyed my work and want to see more, please consider supporting my work on Patreon. It'll go a long way. Although it's a bit weird if you're gonna go all in on Twitch. I mean, you do make more money on Patreon, but it is a funny thing when you're on Twitch because do they just support you on Patreon? Do they support you on Twitch? And personally, I'm at a point where I'd prefer people support me on Nikachu MTG streams over than Patreon, because then people see when the support happens. Like Nimue here. Nimue and Richie Dubs. Loving it. Absolutely loving it. Anyway, I've actually linked their Patreons in the description if you're fans of those guys and you're unaware that they are making paid content now. You know what? Sideboard guides are a really good way to monetize a Patreon. That's what a lot of people do, and it's funny because there was this one pro that was like shaming content creators for charging money for sideboard guides, and like I think 2 years later the guy was doing the same thing. It's basically advertising a sideboard guide. Oh well, no modern content, can't support him now. Well, he's gonna probably move into modern when modern's popular. I mean, he might not have mentioned modern, but I'm certain that, you know, there's going to be a time and place where modern is a thing to do. To be an MTG pro these days, it seems you need at least 2 to 3 X's, experience, exposure, and excellence. Sure. I don't know. I don't know how to debate this, so I just won't. All right. Well, anyway, that'll be that. Morning, everyone. This is Coffee and MTG with Nikachu. Hope you're all having a wonderful morning. And of course, my morning is going to start off with our sponsor, FusionGamingOnline.com. Deal of the week, save up to 20% off all gaming accessories, deck boxes, sleeves, binders, and more. You better believe I've had a taste for the hide binders out there by Ultra Pro. Very I loving their work on the hide binders, that's for sure. And if you're going to be buying any binders, or any deck sleeves, or boxes, or singles for that matter, don't forget to use coupon code Nikachu at checkout. It gets you 5% off your purchase, and it also supports the channel. We're going to thank our sponsor, Mana Traders, the premier place to rent Magic cards online. It's cheaper, it's the ban list saver. If you're so paranoid of Urza Saga, or Ragavan, or something else getting banned in Modern, that's why they got Mana Traders, because they don't ban your cards, they ban Mana Traders cards, and then you just replace the Ragavan with something else. You don't want to lose all your money on Ragavan? Fine, just rent the damn cards, and you don't have to lose any. And you're not losing your cards, and you still have access to the whole card pool. You can support the channel using my Mana Traders link in the description below, or save 15% off your first 2 months using coupon code Nikachu_ZKL. Good morning, Aztec Guy, the amazing Wally, Isaac, Dustin, Hill, Yvan, Mikey J, Spectre, Gold Medals, William Dixon, Tommy Siddons. Oh, good morning, Matt. Welcome for the first time. Pietro, Albert, Ventric, Nick, Matt, Mamros. Good morning. Benjamin likes the new time. I can catch it 3 times a week now. I think overall, I don't think much changed. I think we got a little bit more viewers going a little bit earlier. I love the new old Coffee and M. Oh, because we used to do this a lot late. We used to do this earlier a long time ago. I don't remember what the schedule was like. Wizards of the Coast needs to ban a bunch of Mana Traders cards ASAP. What, just the companions? Richie loves the rental services, gets to play all the decks. Westro, there are no pro Magic players anymore, just pro content creators. That's not good or bad per se. Here's the thing, there were never at any point in time actual pro Magic players. That was an illusion. No one was making no one was making the bulk of their income going to tournaments and then winning prize money. Like, that is such a fantasy. I remember 10 years ago, people were bragging about being a professional. Oh, these Magic players, you can be a professional. Look, first place in a Grand Prix is $4,000. $4,000? And what are the odds of getting first place? It's abysmal. Most of the time, you're making like $100 getting 92nd place or something like that. And you still get taxed on it in the United States. We don't get taxed on it in Canada. Ha 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 ha. We don't. We're fair here. We don't tax winnings. Canada taxes you in other spots. But it actually, Magic players made the bulk of their money from either their sponsors, like Star City Games, Channel Fireball, whatever TCG Player, whatever site that they were on. That's where their real money, their real consistent income was coming from. And then, of course, the content creators have been doing this independently the entire time. The earlier time is dank. I tuned in just in time for Decklist review yesterday. Well, now you know the real time. The new time is 8 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. Thoughts on Saffron Olive's MTG playing ability? He's not a complete pony. He is definitely good enough to execute the decks that he wants to play. But of course, he's a casual player, so he's not. Nothing's going to be crisp and perfect. This is a good question, Yanchevik. Doesn't pro mean promotional, not professional? So I think very early on in the history of... I tried to make a video about this. And I was trying to find a shred of evidence that supports that pro means promotional. And I couldn't find it, except that every single old-time pro all unanimously agreed that pro meant promotional. And I think what ended up happening was a long time ago, when they made the Pro Tour, it was a promotional tour. But then there came a point where they might have scrapped any evidence of it being a promotional tour and decided, hey, let's try to give people a really strong impression that they can become a professional at this game. This is the Pro Tour, and you are a professional at Magic the Gathering. Maybe a little unethical on the marketing department. Like, even if it was never promotional and it always meant professional, which I doubt it, because a long time ago they weren't really promoting the pros. There was a point where they're like, wow, we could promote these people as pros, and people want to get to the Pro Tour, and they'll do whatever they can or do whatever it takes to get to that Pro Tour. You guys all, you are either somebody or you know somebody that did everything they could to get on that Pro Tour. Their whole life, their meaning, their existence was about getting on the Pro Tour. Jam every F&M, get to every Grand Prix, play every PTQ. You scrub out of that PTQ, you drive 3, 4, 5, 6 hours away to another PTQ. You fly over to the other part of the country to get into another PTQ or GP or something. Jim Davis said Aspiring Spike is the one who keeps the interest in brewing modern format alive. Do you agree with this statement? Absolutely. I think Aspiring Spike is a huge brewer. Now, he brews with good cards. So, like, when he brews, he's still going to be playing with Dragon Rage Channel and Ragavan and all the other really big cards, but he legitimately is playing offbeat meta decks. Absolutely. Aztec Guy, imagine being a competitive MTG player, but you are sponsored by Southwest Airlines, SCG, Marriott Hotels, and Lyft. That would be the dream of the efficiency. It would be nice to get those sponsors, but they'll never sponsor those people. But now that I think of it, they would, like, a certain hotel or like even Lyft would be a good sponsor. For the grinders, at least. If nothing else, just to get a free hotel. I remember paying $15 for a pack of cigarettes last time I was in Canada in 2012. You get taxed. Also, it's $15. I think it's way higher than that now. My mother smokes. I think it's like Oh, I don't. For a carton of cigarettes, it's just something stupid. Enough that it made my father quit smoking. I thought daylight savings time started early. Yeah, we have a new schedule now. Everyone's caught off guard by the new schedule. Albert, did you see the card market poll regarding companions? I did not. Was it on Twitter? Was it on... I don't know. If it was on YouTube, I can't access it right now. Let's dig. We're looking for a poll. Looking for a poll, looking for a poll. I don't see it though. Oh no. Can't find it, sorry. Content creators helps Magic more than pro players. Heavily agree. Definitely agree. You know, a lot of pro players... I'm not gonna say a lot, but like, you know, there's pro players have no incentive to engage with the audience and cultivate a community. They have no incentive whatsoever, which is very important to Magic the Gathering, period. And the content creators have every incentive to do that, to get people excited about Magic. Now, that's not to say that content creators didn't do these sort of things, but it was mostly on SCG's part or Channel Fireball's part to do that sort of community cultivating. Taxes on winnings in the US? Yeah, if you're honest, sure. Yeah, but the thing is with Magic the Gathering, before the money got to you, they taxed it immediately. So, they forced you... Wizards of the Coast forced you to be honest. They didn't just hand you a check and be like, oh, I hope you pay your taxes. They took the taxes off immediately. At least whenever I got winnings in the United States, the taxes were automatically deducted. And it's huge. It's like 33% or something. Or I don't know, somewhere between 25 and 33%. Something dumb. Good morning, DJ. Mr. DJ Longhair. Qualifying for the first Pro Tour required you to call a phone number and register a spot. I'm not making this up. I believe it. I have no idea what the first Pro Tour looked like. Oh, we got Kyle Driver, of course. Listening at work, having a good day. Thank you so much, Kyle, for another $2. I only watch Aspiring Spike when he doesn't play with Ragavan. Oh, so some people are really that sick of it? Is Ragavan that bad? I mean, if it's true, like some people take the position, well, Ragavan's not that bad. Like, just play around, just play removal. But then we got GP here, who's like, well, if the player is playing Ragavan, then, I mean, maybe I'm making a stretch here. The games are boring because Ragavan is taking over all these games. Why buy cigarettes when you can buy cardboard instead? Or why get into one addiction when you can just stick to this one? And when all is said and done, you still have the cards. When it comes to the cigarettes, the cigarette is gone. Does Manitoba have daylight savings time? Will that change the schedule? Yes, actually, it will. So maybe naturally it'll go. But we unanimous. The whole world has daylight savings time, doesn't it? Or maybe not. But yeah, we do have daylight savings time. So, and I don't know when that might be coming up soon. Man, I saw this awesome in-depth look at card grading this morning. Well, that was from Card Market. Shout out to Card Market. Not sponsored by Card Market, by the way. I don't know. Not also the. It took a very long time to get that project out because I was not nearly as motivated as my last projects. But now I get to move on to some more fun stuff. Pre-pandemic, me and my few friends were seriously contemplating forming an MTG team and trying to work for different companies to maximize efficient travel and boarding. Yeah. Well, I mean, personally, I mean, I never had an official team, but unofficially I had Team WoW, which is just basically me and my friends who like to play in like Grand Prix. And yes, if you are not going as a team or as a group of friends, then I mean, you're just bleeding tons of money. The objective is to stuff as many people into that hotel room as possible, to fit as many people into that car as possible. And it's more fun that way. As long as you don't have anyone that snores with you. Then that becomes a problem. Torborg on early this morning. How does everyone not know this yet? I guess no one watches daily. They just watch like 2 times a day, 3 times a day. So we're gonna get people like, I don't know, 2 weeks from now saying, "Oh my God, it's early." On early this morning, interesting. Also, I'm not sure if you saw, but Willie Hall has been putting on a 24-hour-old Pro Tour coverage, and people have been loving it. Really wish Wizards of the Coast would do one. Why do they need to do it when we can do it? We just do it. Mikey J with the tax advice. Just lie on your tax return. It's easy. I heard it's dangerous to lie on your lie on taxes in the United States. Like, they're not, the IRS are not chill about this whatsoever. If someone like squeals on you, they're gonna call you up and they're gonna bring on the hurt. The IRS doesn't BS around. You pay the taxes. Uncle Sam wants his share. Am I using Uncle Sam right? Is Uncle Sam? I don't think Uncle Sam is the logo for the IRS, but I imagine Uncle Sam would say, "Pay your taxes." Canadians cross the border for cigarettes. Americans cross the border for medication. This is funny because, yes, this is true. This is absolutely true. Deadly Feet. Yesterday at university, I saw an old friend, and we bonded over your show. Oh, wow. The Coffee and MTG, bringing people together, and both our decks have been part of Decklist review. It was pretty awesome. Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, wow, that's interesting. What a coincidence. You watch Coffee and MTG? I watch Coffee and MTG too. Do you do Decklist review? I also do Decklist review. Yeah, that's hilarious. Well, who's the other guy? Who's the other guy, Deadly Feet? That's hilarious. I love that story. That's a very wholesome start to the morning. Ragavan in 30% of decks, it's boring to watch. It's become the norm. It's interesting, it's boring to watch Ragavan, but it was never boring to watch Swift Spear. I wish people had the same opinions of Swift Spear. Gonna get Ragavan banned and Swift Spear, like, it's been like the de facto red card in red decks for 8 years, ever since Khans of Tarkir came out. The toughest issue with my plan was to get positions in said companies. Yeah, the sponsors are always hard, in which we all had weekends off. Also, changing careers was a huge turnoff. Well, I'm glad you did not quit your day job or restructure your day job for this, because it would have been a disaster. No, I mean, actually playing Magic tournaments has to be looked at as a casual endeavor. When I go to a Magic tournament, like when I went to MTG Las Vegas, I am under no obligation to win. Like, it just doesn't matter all that much. I want to win. It's nice promotional material. Merfolk made day 2. I made top 64, but it is like I most definitely do not want to change my my ability to make a living through. I don't want playing live events to have any effect on how I make a living. AS is getting bored of Modern because everyone is playing with like the same 10 to 20 cards, even at F&M or other casual events. It's just annoying. So here's the question, AS. Are the cards annoying? Or is it the... Hold on. Is it the specific cards annoying, or because the thing is, you know, modern decks for the longest time still play with the same 10-20 cards. Like a lot of decks look like very similar to each other, especially in Legacy. There's like many different variations of Delver, and they all shared like 20 cards. Oh yeah, Marin Moon also does a lot of brewing. I think a lot of people, the people in the Magic the Gathering Online lobbies have crazy brews. But that's the thing. Like, you could technically brew anything, but is it going to be any good? See, Aspiring Spike is brewing decks, and he's playing them in Modern Challenges, and he's playing them in leagues. Maybe he's playing less brews in Modern Challenges. He's playing the best brews in Modern Challenges. We'll put it that way. But so he's a very good deck builder, but he's also a very good player that he can bring these brews to life. Because let's be serious, I mean, we could brew a deck that just loses 100% of the time. So is the deck really relevant? Because that's what you're gonna find in those lobbies. You can find the creativity, but people want that intersection, that Venn diagram between winning and brew and creativity. In all games, solo queue is negative EV. Magic is no exception. The Amazing Baller says lying on your taxis is risky business, because if they catch it and you get audited, they're getting that money. But won't they get more? Like, aren't they going to want to punish you? Remember, even the Joker was scared of the IRS. Yeah, wasn't that like a cartoon clip or something like that? Yeah, that's the correct context. Uncle Sam will body us all. Uncle Sam usually used to recruit for war. Uncle Sam will tell you to do whatever Uncle Sam wants to tell you to do. Uncle Sam is a broad reference to the US government. Uncle Sam is a weirdo. Does anyone dress up in this guy in the United States? Oh god, this is creepy as hell. And it's always the same picture. It's this him pointing at you, which is a bit rude. I want you to pay taxes. Look at me flex the muscles I don't have. Did people dress like this like 300 years ago? I don't know, it seems very strange to me. What an awkward style. No one actually dresses like this. I mean, not right now. Or I mean, like, yeah, maybe does anyone dress up as Uncle Sam for, like, I don't know, America Day, which is what, July 1st? No, July 4th. We have our Canada Day on July 1st. You guys have July 4th as whatever your Independence Day. Do people wear maple syrup cologne? Not that I know of. Or at least I don't buy the thing. KBG, Swift Spear is fine for the format. It doesn't produce mana or card advantage like Ragavan. Dragon Rage Chandler throws away what you don't want from your deck. It produces card quality. And Jack is like, you know what, to be honest, I think the problem with Modern is the prices. If they printed a few Modern Masters sets with Modern Horizons 2 and Modern Horizons 1 cards, people would calm down. Prices are unsustainable if Modern rotates, sadly. But that's the thing, Modern doesn't rotate, hence why the high prices. Because people know that these cards are going to be good for, well, forever, for as long as they don't get banned. So that's how they got those high prices. But I think even if you made the cards cheaper, it doesn't matter. Like, I mean, I'm sick of Dragon Rage Chandler, personally. I think Dragon Rage Chandler is actually a bigger problem than Ragavan. Significantly bigger. Way harder to deal with. Not legendary whatsoever. And that card is not that expensive. It's very affordable. Vegan Economist. You want to brew a deck that loses all the time? Then pick my deck for Decklist review. Mikey J with this awful. Not this is definitely. Don't listen to Mikey J. This is America. You don't get into real trouble for financial crimes. I think what it comes down to is you don't get in trouble if you have the money for the lawyer to make sure that you don't pay for your financial crimes. But if you do financial crimes and you have no money, or not enough, you didn't steal enough money that you can't pay for the lawyer, then you just get caught. What do you think of that, Mikey J? What do you think of that take? It's a funny business. You do financial crimes, now you have money to pay for a lawyer to save yourself from those situations. Not legal advice, not financial advice. Gotta put those disclaimers out there just in case someone gets a stupid idea. Back to Blue White this weekend. We'll have Urza Saga. Not this weekend. The weekend after that, and probably yes. I don't think I can build a I don't think I can build a Merfolk deck without Urza Saga from here on out. Thoughts on the 5-0? Yeah, the people told me Matt Maddock got another 5-0. I think he got another 5-0. Okay, let's see if we can find his deck. I know he's playing with Mariner. I'm not. I mean, maybe I should try his build because now it looks like he might be onto something. But I know by default that Mariner is just an awful card. Or maybe I didn't try Mariner. Did I? No, we definitely tried Mariner when Svelun came out. It just has this problem of doing nothing. But it has the benefit. Well, the funny thing is he was playing Mariner, so I think he originally was playing Mariner to make Solitude more playable. MTG Kree, a 5-0. With a very diverse sideboard. What is this list? 13 Island. There's like 18 lands. Oh no, there's 18 lands, but there's Glasspool Mimic. More of a classic list. Oh, the most recent 5-0 is not on MTG Goldfish, oddly enough. That's weird. I don't see it here. And I think it's different from the list that we see here. This is not the same list that he played. Because someone else linked me the list. But he's on Prismatic Ending and March of the Otherworldly Light, which I think probably is a good replacement to Harbinger of the Tides. Like Harbinger of the Tides and Trickster. Because those are supposed to be our creature interaction, but this is just better creature interaction. I dressed as a pirate for Ohio Renaissance Fest. I thought this was Halloween. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought this was America. There's a DC Comics creation US. The main protagonist is Uncle Sam. I don't give a F about the prices. The cards aren't fun because they aren't balanced versus the past 25 years of MTG. I don't think they're completely, well, I want to say they are somewhat balanced within the ultra powerful like modern Magic that we have today. Like it's not just of course it's not just Modern Horizons, it's also the rest of the last 2 years of Magic have ramped up the power level. So overall, for the last 2 years, they were overwhelmingly more powerful than any other cards. You know, it's like since War of the Spark, the power level of Magic just went through the roof. It went up times 10, and now it's pretty clear. But well, what I want to say is Modern Horizons is quite balanced, somewhat balanced within that power level, the new norm. But it looks like they're sort of powering down the sets, like with Neon Dynasty and what's it called, Crimson Vow. Those were not particularly powerful sets. So what it is like now might be what it is like for quite a while now. Jack's like, I agree with that take. Nikachu, the wealthy do not face many financial crimes. LO, the IRS primarily targets low-income families, which is so sad, but it's reality. The picture you kept seeing of Uncle Sam was created to recruit people for World War I, was also used to recruit for World War II. Character, however, first came into use during the War of 1812. So, I mean, it was just originally used to recruit. I wonder what this podcast is like, or this podcast is like for anyone who doesn't even watch. Because I'm just like, I'm getting through these comments slowly, almost randomly, as we weave in and out of topics. Alright, here's something. Matthew, thoughts on Generous Visitor, Cameo of Transience, and Citizen Champion in Enchantress Shell with Sithis? Oh, I mean, this is... I don't know. Okay, General Visitor. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. I think this is a very clunky card. You need like a base. I think the only way this card is going to work is if you just have a deck loaded with enchant. Like this, Champion of the Parish is not very good unless you can just rattle out a bunch of cards. But you're literally going to be you need to cast the cards, and you need to cast enchantments, and they're going to be really clunky. So this card is going to very slowly grow. So this is not particularly great. Cameo of, ideally you just have a bunch of enchantment creatures in your deck. Like this is a spirit, so if you play this also in the deck, so if you play this Cameo of Transience, then this card is not going to be getting any triggers off of it. So the more non-enchantments you put in your deck, the weaker Generous Visitor gets. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, put a +1/+1 counter on this guy, so pretty much in the same deal. So the deal is, the more of these non-enchantment creatures you put in your deck, the weaker the synergy is going to be. Like it's going to be so clunky, it's not going to work. And Citizen Champion. Yeah, same deal. It won't work. It won't work because you're going to have too many non-enchantments in your deck. Like, what if you have a handful of these creatures? Then what? Then the deck does nothing. And honestly, it is not powerful enough of a plan, or like it's not powerful enough as of a creature to just buff itself up like this. It needs big time support. Like, I want this ability for Merfolk. Like, I want a Champion of the Parish for Merfolk, because the Merfolk can buff each other up, and also I can finally get more value when I'm playing tempo bears like Harbinger of the Tides or Trickster. Like, I'm getting extra value out of those things. But the whole deck will work with each other, whereas I don't think this Enchantress idea works with each other very well. Like, if you're gonna play, like, an Enchantress is pretty clunky, so the payoff needs to be big, and I don't see the payoff here. At the beginning of each end step, if an enchantment was put into your graveyard from the battlefield this turn, you may return Cameo Transience from your graveyard to your hand. That's honestly not bad. That's not bad. You have a 2/2 with Trampled, and you can get it back over and over again. It's not bad. Oh, there we go. Champion of the Merfolk Champion should be named Champion of the Pear Fish. Yeah, Enchantress has two. Well, it seems they have three. Enchantress got two Champion of the Parish, and Nikachu still has none. I've got no Champion of the Parish. No, we actually have one. We have Deep Root Elite, but it's the one mana more is terrible. This one extra mana just kills it. Whenever another Merfolk enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on target Merfolk you control. I never even liked this card for Historic. How many Boseiju should you play in a mono green deck? All 4? Nah. 2 to 3. Lean on 2. Like, ask yourself this question. How many Pendelhaven should Pendelhaven decks play? And surely, you know, it's not the same thing. You know, Boseiju has more play than a Pendelhaven does, but Anyway, that's how I feel about it. You don't want to overload on it. I think the advantage to things like Boseiju and all these other spell lands, the channel lands, is that you can make it part of your mana base, and there should be no consequences. But once you're starting to play with 3 to 4 legendary lands in the same deck, you're going to see these lands a little bit more often. Maybe there's room to play 3 if you're playing with a Yorion deck, which, I don't know, you're playing green, white, something. It is legendary. Thoughts on Marlin of the Morn song and Opposition Agent? Marlin of the Morn song. Players can draw cards. At the beginning of each player's draw step, that player loses 3 life. Okay, hold on. So there's 3 for 2/3. Players can't draw cards. Okay. So does this put the game at a standstill? Players can't draw cards. At the beginning of each player's draw step, that player, they lose 3 life, searches his or her library for a card, puts it into his or her hand, then shuffles his or her library. What does Opposition Agent do, though? At the beginning, that player loses 3 life, searches, and then... Does this work? You control your opponents while they... Oh, I see. You know who it would also work here? Just... Oh, no. Is it... I think Ashiok works here, too. One opponent is searching their library. They exile each card they find. You may play that card. That's a combo. That's a combo. Searches his or her library for a card, puts it into his or her hand, then shuffles his or her library. So, like, I think also a combo is Ashiok. This also works. Because it just says, spells and abilities your opponents control can't cause their controller to search their library. Why doesn't Ashiok work? Can't search the library. This card be like, search your library, but can't search anymore. Oh, Ashiok doesn't do anything because we are making the search effect. That's right. I was wondering why I was allowed to look for a land with Path to Exile once. You're right. That's correct. Wow, the nuances. Okay, so this is... Isn't Opposition Agent like strictly a commander card? Yeah, not legal in Modern. No, this is a cool combo. All your friends are gonna hate you. But yeah, it is a combo. Yeah, that's why no one ghost quarters with an Ashiok out. Yeah, we can play it. You know, honestly, Richie, I could have read this a million times. I never would have caught on. You either, like, know the interaction or you don't. I did not. I would look big stupid in a tournament with my Ashiok out. I would just hope have to hope my opponent just resigns on the spot. It is crazy how super powerful old cards like Goyf, Bob, Goblin Guide, and Stoneforge can't even crack Modern's top 10 right now. I never saw Goblin Guide as a particularly good card. It just ended up being just playable enough in Burn. I think Bob got displaced by a long time ago, but Goyf is still good. I think Goyf's biggest problem is no one wants to play green, or not enough people want to go green. People are going Grixis, people are going Rakdos, people are going blue-white. I think there's only one Jund deck that wants to play Goyf. Like, let's look at Modern. Let's see how much green there is here to play Goyf. No green, no green, no green, no green. There's green, but they don't want to play Goyf. No green, green, but they don't want to play Goyf. Nope, nope, nope. Red is the de facto, that's for sure. Then there we go, John. There's Goyf right there. I think Tarmogoyf is still a top tier card, but it's hard to build a deck around Goyf now. It's like it's not worth it anymore. Look at Aspiring Spike, probably just keeping goblins up there just by himself. And also, to be fair, I think Dark Confidant was already a dead card before any of the new cards came out. Got Aspiring Spike. Actually, there's a lot of people playing goblins. Got Eddie Cheng here. Oh, it's way more than goblins. Underrated deck right now. That's a sign of health. When when other people can replicate the success, that is a sign that the deck is in good shape. Bob was dead long before Ren and 6, but that was probably the final. That most definitely was the nail in the coffin. Stoneforge not a top 10 creature in Modern? To be honest, it doesn't feel like Stoneforge is being played for like Batterskull anymore. It's just another tutor for Hammer Time. I will say Stoneforge doesn't feel like Stoneforge Mystic. Like, no one's playing Stoneforge Mystic for Stoneforge Mystic reasons. It's like just like incidentally. It's just it's like a better version of Steel Shaper's Gift, essentially, because it can find other cards if necessary. Break gobs. Like, how many conspicuous snoops do you have, Richie? How many conspicuous snoops do you have? Whew. Look at that. Did you buy at the bottom at like $1.50 or $2? This was a good spec. $50 conspicuous snoops. So you're like in for like $200-ish. There's a lot of there's different promos. There's also a pre-release version. Alright, good luck with that spec. It looks like it's reached the bottom. We just need one goblin player to break it, and then Richie is raking in the big bucks. The big bucks. Alright, it's time. It's time for Decklist review. So, if you have a decklist to be reviewed, go into my description. There's a link to my Discord. Join the Discord, and then find the channel Decklist Review, and enter the command !review deck space, give the URL to your decklist, and you'll be eligible at random for Decklist Review. Oops, what am I doing taking this thing away? Oh, you better believe Lord Magicus is not happy about Fire Design. Literally decades of cards are being thrown out via the power creep to sell Fire Design sets. And it's not even fun. Even every format revolves around whatever the last set was. That's how they keep it fresh. It's always the new busted cards. Alright, let's look at some deck lists. We've got Napoleon. Or do we? Hold on. No, I didn't actually choose Napoleon. Sorry. Hold on. Wait. I didn't. Hold on. Okay, I have to do this again. Napoleon simply posted immediately after I tried to choose someone. Oh, we did actually. Okay, we got Nimue. Okay, we have Nimue with Dune Glimpse of Tomorrow. So we have Seasoned Pyromancer, Shardless Agent, Fury, Wave Sifter, and then enters the battlefield to investigate twice. Xenagos, God of Revels, Kozilek, Butcher of Truth, Ulamog. Ooh, you know, I do admire a deck that tries to go big and fast. And so I guess what you're trying to do is you're trying to glimpse into like a few Eldrazi and try to give them haste, and then boom, just kill them. What does Wave Sifter? Oh, Wave Sifter. When you evoke it, you get a bunch of random stuff on the battlefield. Teferi, Glimpse of Tomorrow, Violent Outburst, Leyline of Sanctity, Omniscience. Is this necessary? Does anyone play Glimpse decks? Do they start with Leyline? I mean, I guess it's if nothing else, you put it on the battlefield and it's just a random card that you're going to sacrifice to the Glimpse anyway. Ketria Triome, Colony Garden, Misty Rainforest, Rogrin Triome, Sacred Foundry, Snow-Covered Island, Steam Vent, Stomping Ground. Okay, this is fine. Anger of the Gods, Archmage's Charm. Why? Why Archmage's Charm? This is a very clunky, super clunky card. Oh, no, okay. Yeah, why? Oh, I was about to say, why don't you have Mystical Dispute, but you're actually maxed out on 4. Is this maybe a budget Force of Negation? My biggest issue is I don't know how well my land base / sideboard is. I think your Archmage's Charm should be more Force of Negations. Or more Force of Vigors. Okay, I mean, you definitely... Or you have Foundation Breaker and Force of Vigor. I think that's fine, because you do have to fight Chalice on 0. But this just seems like a very clunky counter spell. You're not really looking to draw cards. And I don't think there's any... Charm steals 1-drop to do the thing on. I think that is a very weak interaction. It's a very, very, very weak interaction. You may be better off with, like, Fury. Like the 4th Fury. You have, like, 3 in your deck. Or another Teferi or something. Archmage's Charm is a pretty clunky card. I mean, the more realistic thing is to have another 4... you can make Force of Negation work, I think. 4, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, actually, Force of Negation is a bit clunky in this deck. So your lands? I think your lands are fine. I mean, maybe there's a better way to do this. You have Island. You probably should have a forest. Do we have a forest in here? Just to play around Blood Moon. I would think that there should be 1 forest in this deck. So just to play around Blood Moon. And then when you put in the forest, maybe that will be a further deterrent for the Archmage's Charm. Because this is heavy on blue, of course. You need the triple blue. I think that's it, though. I think that's it. So, I mean, if you get if you have your islands... If you have at least 1 island that you can fetch, you have 1 forest you can fetch, and someone Blood Moons you, you can still play Shardless Agent, and you can still play Violent Outburst. But the Red Channel Land and maybe Gemstone Caverns? Ooh. Maybe Gemstone Caverns. I don't know how this deck plays out if you need the cards in your hand, or if it's better to get out speed, because the moment you Violent Outburst, you don't necessarily win. Like, if you just jam out turn 3, or even turn 2 Violent Outburst, does that do anything for you? So it's more about getting as many permanents on the battlefield first, with Seasoned Pyromancer and the tokens, and then build... But that might require you have more cards in your hand. Discard 2 cards, then draw 2 cards. Everyone's always asking for Faithless Looting to come back. Here's Faithless Looting. There it is. But, yeah, I think more or less it's a clean list. I like the idea. I don't know if this is the most... I mean, this is technically not the most strategically sound idea. Because remember, these are all cast triggers. So you don't get the cast when you play Glimpse of Tomorrow. Put all non-aura permanents cards revealed this way onto the battlefield. So you don't get the cast thing out of this. But I do admire trying to put an Eldrazi and giving it haste. And, hold on, does that what Xenagos do? As long as your devotion is, blah, blah, blah. At the beginning of combat on your turn, another target creature you control gains, yeah, it does gain haste. And you go smash them to hell. Legit, though, I don't like Ulamog the Infinite here. I think you'd be better off with Nicol Bolas, almost any of them. Well, like I said, this is like a funsy option. This is clearly a funsy thing. It's not strategically sound, because there's better... You should just be playing exclusively with cards that have better ETB effects. I mean, I guess this one has an okay ETB effect. ETB, destroy target permanent. Draw 4 cards. Emrakul is completely pointless. Anyway, thanks for submitting on Decklist Review. And then the other person that was chosen was Luke Out Loud. I like that username. That's creative. We've got Dress Down, Fire, Clink to Dust. Is this just going to be... Oh, I thought for a second it was going to be Shadow. Okay, so it's called Look... Just Grixis Thing in the Ice. Here's your Thing in the Ice. Here's some Snapcaster Mage. Here's Jace Vryn's Prodigy. Expressive Iteration. 1 Unearth. Amisha's Bauble. Do you have Luris? You do have Luris. Grixis Titty in a Control Shell. Not necessarily trying to flip them as fast as possible every game, but dress down into Titty pretty sweet. Oh, there was a mill question. Hold on. William. Good morning. What are your thoughts about Dimir Mill? I've recently put together a Surgical Expertate deck to cut up my opponent's strategy. It is a viable deck, but I will say that it seems to be the more popular choice is going Azorius Mill, just to have access to things like Prismatic Ending. That seems to be more important right now, or at least that has been the more successful Mill deck at a more competitive level. I don't know where Mill went. It came and then it went. Mill is a very relevant deck. This looks plenty playable. Some would say like the Thing in the Ice is not necessary, but I guess you can play it anyway. Some would say Thing in the Ice is not necessary because there's already decks that do, play similar to this, but the difference being that they don't play with Thing in the Ice. They're just relying completely on Snapcaster Mage and Luris. What does Dress Down do in this? Creatures lose all abilities. Thing in the Ice enters the battlefield with 4 ice counters on it. So can you hold on, so what is the interaction here? Can you play Dress Down first, play Thing in the Ice, and then it doesn't get any counters as it enters the battlefield? Well, Dress Down is a good all-around way of beating construct tokens from Urza Saga and just making Dragon Rage Chandler smaller, etc. But maybe there's a combo here where you play Dress Down first, then you play Thing in the Ice, and then it comes into play with no counters, and it's ready to flip the moment you play 1 instant or sorcery. Well, it won't flip immediately. So you play Dress Down, you pass the turn, Dress Down disappears, and then boom, you get to flip your Thing in the Ice. Yeah, you would need to cast a spell on the following turn. There's nothing particular. I have nothing against this deck. I think you got a little bit of everything. But again, this deck probably is a little oh yeah, there's actually one card I don't like, Unearth. You know how I feel about Unearth. I feel like this shouldn't be in any deck. No deck. This is the cute one of you even admitting to yourself that you can't even play 2 of these. You're admitting to yourself you can't even play a second Unearth. And why is that? Because the first one wasn't good in the first place. And it probably should be an Unholy Heat. So if there's something I could lean on, you should actually remove a Lightning Bolt and move to a 4th Unholy Heat. This is just too important in the metagame right now. Like against, you will put a lot more pressure on a Murktide deck to make a big Murktide, and you will also put pressure on Primeval Titan decks, because this can kill Primeval Titan, whereas Lightning Bolt cannot. And actually, you don't have a lot of ways of dealing with a Primeval Titan. Jace is also probably not relevant. Probably I would just replace Jace with a Snapcaster Mage. Snapcaster Mage is always going to be good. Alpine Moon, Anger of the Gods, EE, Flusterstorm, Luris, Nihil Spellbomb, Thoughtseize. looks good. Aside from that, looks good. Thanks for submitting it. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining me today. Of course, the new time is 8 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. So you got to show up an hour early. And then who knows what's going to happen when Daylight Savings Time kicks in. As usual, if you love Coffee and MTG, you want to support the channel, and you don't do so already, you go to twitch.tv/Nikachu MTG. You can drop a sub. You can become a patron at patreon.com, or you can hit the join button on YouTube. Thank you very much, everyone, for making my morning just as good as hope making the rest of your morning. So keep brewing up that coffee, and we will keep brewing up the magic. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time.